What the hell is this?
Keep your mouth shut.
Jack, I'm Dr. Krieger. I know you've had a rough day, so I'll keep this brief. I've been following your feud with Colonel Crow here. You proved to be a clever and tenacious thorn in his side. That's why you're still alive.
Hear that, Crow?
I'm a biochemist. I've studied primitive medicine my whole career, searching for a way to roll back the millennia of atrophy and decadence that's weakened humankind. You see, Jakatan's indigenous shamans use their craft to empower their tribe's warriors and hunters. It's taken a long time and many failures, but I've been able to improve on these folk practices. A suitable test subject can access physical abilities that have been lost to humans for thousands of years. You'll feel a little prick. Process him for observation. In the meantime, Colonel, I suggest you start making some progress in your search for the woman. Mr. Carver turned out to be a lucky find, but I won't tolerate any more costly disruptions.
Far Cry Instincts, Predator.
Out of all of the Far Cry video games, I believe this one is the greatest. Against your will, you become a biological prototype on an interesting survival conquest around a tropical island. Endowed with weird, growing animalistic strength and abilities, your sole purpose is to find answers for this twisted experiment and escape alive. Far Cry Instincts Predator is a first-person shooter video game published by Ubisoft and released on the Xbox 360 in 2006. You play as Jack Carver, a retired Navy officer who freelances as a charter boat captain. Carver is hired by a reporter that wants to visit a mysterious island known as Jakutan. Upon arrival, an unknown mercenary group blows his boat up, captures his client, and injects him with some unknown serum compound. Thus begins Carver's survival mission of becoming more beast than human as he ventures forth on an island filled with other nefarious experiments. For the sake of the video, I will only present Far Cry Instincts, the first video game. The original Far Cry Instincts released on the original Xbox console in 2005, with a sequel called Far Cry Evolution that followed the success. Upon the Xbox 360 console releasing, Far Cry Instincts Predator just combined the two video games into a single video game. I feel that Far Cry Instincts represents everything that the video game is about, and is more of a solid entry into the series of the Far Cry games. My father regaled my siblings and me about the countless things he was fascinated by when growing up. He was a huge book reader. From Ian Fleming's James Bond series to the classic Turok comic books, he read countless things. Throw some Stephen King novels and some Star Trek in there as well. Just like his appetite for reading books, he would buy many types of video games. However, he was a bit more selective about video games because of the cost. Not only that, but video games could only be played on a TV and video game console, whereas a book could be read anywhere with enough light. My father was always a huge buff for one man versus many kind of scenarios. I remember watching every single James Bond film, all of the Bourne movies, the first 3 Die Hard films, and many more. His favorite TV series was 24. The sleepless nights of listening to that theme song on loop and full blast was endless for my siblings and me. I mean, it was obnoxious. It went on for hours. And his favorite movie of all time was Gladiator, starring Russell Crowe. And I cannot tell you how many times he watched Gladiator daily. It was a lot. My father picked up Far Cry Instincts Predator because of the reviews and overall plot outline. I mentioned this in my Onimusha video, but my father was relatively bad at video games. Especially first-person shooter video games. He really did try. The video game genre he really was exceptional at was puzzle games. The Myst video game series was his favorite. Thus enters my introduction to Far Cry Instinct's Predator and helping my father play this video game. Far Cry Instinct's Predator was unlike anything I had seen during that time. All of these really cool abilities, semi-casual gunplay, a compelling story. The list of elements that this video game had were exceptional. However, the biggest glaring problem that Far Cry Instinct's Predator suffers from is the art and visual graphical fidelity. The video game looks like an arcade game or cartoon. After seeing something like Halo Combat Evolved or even Star Fox Adventures, Far Cry Instinct's Predator looked like some kind of spoof. Which was probably a reason why my father allowed me to play this video game in the first place. Every enemy moves like they're on some kind of animatronic rail. All of the foliage appears to be made from some form of plastic. Buildings look like Legos. The entire two games suffer from this visual aspect. One minor problem that I can point out about Far Cry Instinct's Predator is how much you rely on your adrenaline meter. From slashing at enemies, using night vision senses, to running at superhuman speeds, the adrenaline meter tends to all of those things and more. The adrenaline meter drains exponentially faster the more abilities you are using at the same time. For example, you can run really fast and have the sense ability activated at the same time. With the adrenaline meter completely drained all the time, you are left in some precarious situations that will ultimately end in a player death. Far Cry Instinct's Predator suffers from the poor graphical fidelity and artwork. This video game did not age well. However, undeniably, this video game houses some great gameplay and a terrific story about a one-man versus many scenario. Jack Carver is seriously one badass man that faces an entire mercenary group and others, later, fearlessly. To be honest, Far Cry Instinct's Predator was nominated as a runner-up solely based on the clever story and gameplay integrations. The development team that made Far Cry Instinct's Predator had a vision and goal for this video game, which ultimately succeeded. The Far Cry franchise has taken a huge turn since the release of this video game. I only wish to see a version of this kind of Far Cry video game return someday. Oh my god, no, make it stop, Dad! Dad, please wake up, Dad! Dad! Thank you for watching this video. If you liked this video and episode, please feel free to check out the Pondersaur channel for more episodes. Also, a big thank you for all who have supported this community. Remember, this is Pondersaur, Words with a Roar. See you in the next episode.